So we will now proceed to the last part of our discussion dealing with the chloroplast, in which we will discuss its structure. So recall that chloroplast can be divided into two membranes. So you have the inner membrane and then the outer membrane. And both membranes are made up of phospholipid bilayer, just like in the case of the mitochondrion. So let's try to discuss in detail the internal structure of the chloroplast, which is the site of photosynthesis. Okay? So in our illustration, there are 7 main parts that we can discuss in details. So we have the first one, which is the outer membrane. Then you have number 2, the inner membrane. Then for the third one, you observe that the third part of our parts of the chloroplast consist of flattened sacs. Okay? So you have flattened sacs. So these are flattened sacs, and these flattened sacs were actually the site of the light reaction of photosynthesis. So these flattened sacs, which are considered to be the site of light reaction of photosynthesis, is known as the thylakoid. Okay, so number 3, you have the thylakoid. So the thylakoid consists of plasma membrane as well. Okay, so it consists of plasma membrane. So these are flattened sacs, in which these flattened sacs are considered to be the site of light reaction. The light reaction of photosynthesis. So light reaction of photosynthesis will be discussed in lesson number 13 of General Biology 1 at the end of the second quarter. Okay? So these are the thylakoids. These are flattened sacs that are made up of plasma membrane, and it is the site of the light reaction. Okay? So again, let's have number 4. As you notice, for number 4, these thylakoids were actually arranged in a columnar order, or let's say they are ordered in a columnar arrangement. So that is the fourth part. Thylakoids that are arranged in a columnar, or let's say they are ordered in a columnar arrangement, will be known as the grana. So we have grana. So grana consists of thylakoids. Arranged in, or let's say they are ordered in a columnar arrangement. So the columnar arrangement of thylakoids will be known as the grana. Grana for plural, granum for singular. Okay, so this is the fourth part in our illustration. Meanwhile, for number 5, chloroplast actually consists of a semi-fluid substance. Okay, so you have a semi-fluid substance. So for instance, these thylakoids were actually surrounded by a semi-fluid substance, in which these semi-fluid substance were actually made up of DNA. It consists of enzymes, okay, and consists of ribosomes. So the fluid substance that consists of DNA, enzymes, and ribosomes that surrounds the entire thylakoid will be known as the stroma. So that is number 5. For number 5, stroma is the fluid substance that surrounds the entire thylakoid, and it consists of DNA. Also, it consists of enzymes, and it also consists of ribosomes. Since chloroplast consists of DNA, it means that it can replicate on its own. It can reproduce by its own. In addition to that, since chloroplast consists of enzymes, it means that it can speed up the process of photosynthesis. So since it consists of ribosomes, at the same time, it can produce proteins. So in addition to that, stroma is the site of the dark reaction of photosynthesis. So the dark reaction of photosynthesis is actually one of the phases of photosynthesis along with the light reaction. So dark reaction of photosynthesis will be discussed in lesson number 14 of General Biology 1 at the end of the second quarter. So just keep in mind that photosynthesis can be divided into two phases, light reaction and dark reaction. The site of light reaction is the thylakoid, and then the site of dark reaction is the stroma, which is the fluid substance that surrounds the entire thylakoid. Okay, let's have the next one, number 6. So as you notice in number 6, you have a narrow space between the inner membrane and the outer membrane known as the intermembrane space, just like in the case of the mitochondrion. So the intermembrane space is the narrow space between the inner membrane and the outer membrane. Okay? And then the last but not the least, we have number 7. So for number 7 refers to the lamella. Okay, so you have lamella. So let's try to shade the lamellas. So these are the lamellas. So as you notice, the lamellas connect one granum to another granum. Therefore, its main function is that lamella, okay, it holds the grana in a fixed position. Okay, it holds the grana in a fixed position. So therefore, we can compare lamella to the skeleton. Okay, or let's say the skeletal system of the body. So since it acts as the skeleton, hence, it is responsible for the grana to maintain its fixed position. Okay? So again, we have the following structures. Number 1, let's say we have the outer membrane. Number 2, the inner membrane. Number 3, the thylakoid. Number 4, the grana or the granum. Number 5, the stroma. Then number 6, the intermembrane space. And then number 7, the lamellas. And these are the structures within the chloroplast, which is the site of photosynthesis.